Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch Dev Stream. As usual, I'm your host, Mike. Hi, how's it going? Glad to be back, everybody. Yeah, I thought I could squeak out a little vault in the pre-show there, and I was wrong. So I'm almost to this one. we'll resume that. Welcome to stream. Glad to have you with us. If this is your first time here, welcome. It's gonna be wonderful. Please, if you have any questions for me, please put @LastEpochGame in the chat so we can see what it is. I'll get those questions answered as quickly as possible. We stream for charity. Boom. All of everything that comes in from stream goes to the charity above my head. And we've got, as usual, we've got some stuff to tease out throughout the stream. Look forward to your questions, and I'm gonna play some Last Epoch and have some fun. Thanks, Cyborg. Hi everybody. Yeah, I was okay. I'm really looking for a new chest. I really want to be like, we've got this, which is great, but it's not enough. It didn't hit what we wanted. We need a better one. We can do better. I did get a chance to play around with corruption this week on this character. And if I was going to keep playing this character into the new season, the very first thing I would do on day one is just slam every single piece of gear I have. If the test went if it went anywhere near as well as what happened, I think I got really lucky. But I loaded in and I'm like, let's just slam all my gear for fun. It was great. The only thing that I didn't get a positive thing on was I slammed all my everything. And the only thing that went bad was the amulet. And I'm like, no, the one linchpin. So I guess moral of the story is, as long as you got a backup, you're good to go. Whoa. I do not. All right, first question. This is my first time here. When's the barbarian coming? I mean, this is kind of the closest thing to the barbarian that I've heard any development actual effort being put into. Right here, you're looking at him. Oh yeah, we should be a little careful with some of this. Ooh. Barbarian's an interesting class. We're not gonna do just vaults the entire time because I struggle with them with this corruption. Barbarian's an interesting class. It is I don't want to say this without sounding like I'm saying being mean. It is fairly one note. And it's difficult to get 3 masteries out of it. So it kind of needs to be a mastery. It can't be a class. You can get like some variants of it, but like they're thematically so similar until you start straying from them pretty hard. One left, is that what it's saying? So I think it would, yeah, if we were gonna do a barbarian, it would just have to be a mastery, and I think it would be a mastery like the one that obviously fits is primalist, right? And I don't know if there's enough. Like, I personally would advocate for a hunter before a barbarian as the last mastery, or as the 4th mastery for. Okay, come on. Why can I not go up there? Let me up there. I was probably just walking in the wrong spot. I'd probably advocate for a hunter rather than a barbarian. We're gonna go somewhere that's not silly. That was just me being silly. Is this one good? No, that one's good. Need to be able to farm faster. Let's go here. Right. Hey Mike, another nice Friday for you, I hope. Yes, it is wonderful. Do you still remember how you looked like without a beard? I mean, I trimmed my beard quite a bit since last stream. I do not remember what I looked like without a beard at all. I see pictures of myself as a kid and I'm like, really? No. Couldn't be. Then who? But you know, vaguely, I feel like I could do a weak Photoshop job and see what it is pretty easily. That'd be interesting. Maybe I'll shave one day. I don't know. I wonder if there's a lot more. I don't know if I would enjoy shaving every day. It's part of the problem with not having a beard, I think. It's just the daily upkeep of like, all right, every day I'm gonna shave now. I feel like it would suck. Okay, back to the game. Loving the new rogue skills. Me too. I'm so excited to play rogue next season. Have the art team revamped the rather old and tired looking other skill icons? Looking at you, Synchronized Strike and Lethal Mirage. Can't wait for season 4. I don't think so. I think they're still the same. I know we've definitely talked about changing some of them. There's something to be said for having an icon that's recognizable. We have revamped certain icons over the years. So like a lot of the Beastmaster ones got changed. Like a lot of the Primalist ones in general got changed. So it's not off the table. I'd like to. That could be the sort of thing that I would see happening for like LEO sort of thing. Like more of a larger scale point. Makes any sense. Right. Smashy, smashy. I'll remind you about the character sheet rework from the get-go to get it out of the way early this week. Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, one of these days we'll be back working on that. One of these days. I know there's there was some minor progress towards it. So the one of the big thing that's missing from the character sheet, the reference, if you're unfamiliar with the reference here, is that we've been meaning to have a way to show individual skill calculations more clearly. So okay, you don't have like increased melee fire critical strike chance as a stat on your character sheet. So it's hard to know if your fire converted, melee converted ability is getting the crit strike chance from that or not. You know, it's a slog to do all the math to figure out exactly what's affecting what. And so having specific, like a skill specific tab in the character sheet that showed exactly what each individual skill is gaining bonuses from would go a long way to help clarify what's affecting what. And then on top of that, there's there's just like the missing stats in there. And also we just want to pretty it up a bit and possibly have some sort of like customization system where you can be like, these are stats I'm really interested in, and be able to access those quicker. You know, lots of quality of life things that can get rolled in with that sort of update at the same time. We have very recently added in calculations for DPS calculations for pets using abilities in the skill tree tooltip. So like, what's a good example? Does this show? Yeah, here we go. Thornburst. So it shows 100 damage estimated. That's wrong. That is, I don't know what exactly that's calculating from, but that's very wrong. I think it's just base damage on it, sort of thing. And if so with calculating this specific tooltip properly for the bear that you have, is the sort of thing that's going to start working. Yeah, like this earthquake, that's my earthquake tooltip DPS. 96773. Yeah, that's my earthquake tooltip DPS, but we want it to be the pet's earthquake tooltip DPS. Oh, we got to turn that off. Raise your hand if you know what that sound was. Whenever 3 green beams show up, I'm like, the set bonus proc for COF. Will we see any uniques that give ignite immunity this season? Would be nice to go along with Ashwake boots converting Aura of Decay to fire/ignite. I don't think so. Does it give you immunity to poison right now? The base one? Oh no, there's a way. Yes, okay, never mind. I don't know. I haven't seen one. I'll say that. But I haven't gone over every single item of Fine Tooth Comb yet. We just finished, I think. I think uniques just closed. There might be a couple that I haven't seen yet. There's a whole bunch that end up squeaking in under the wires. Usually, what happens at the last second, like it's closing, and everyone's like, "Oh, I've got an idea." Hey, Mike and the team. Hello. Which class are you most excited to try next season? Also, any buffs for Mage? Yeah, I mean, we've shown some of the specifically Fire Aura changes for Mage coming next season, which is going to be sweet. We've also shown off there's a new set that's Volcanic Orb related, very Mage heavy there. So yeah, there's among other things, there are Mage things happening. Can we go up here? Yeah. I walked halfway around anyways, but you know, the principle of the matter. But me personally, I am by far most excited about Rogue. It's my favorite class. I get to play. I'm gonna play Blade Dancer, I think, because I played Marksman last time, and Blade Dancer has the bigger changes. Not exactly sure what I'm gonna play, but I'm going like Mike having fun mucking about mode, not meta mode this time. And we'll see. I might do a meta build after or something, but yeah, we're sort of just mucking about. Okay, this is just a bunch of these that get shattered, right? Oh, that's nice, but let's go down there. Are we able to get confirmation on when Bladestorm will be unlocked? Tied to the Blade Dancer tree? Level 15, level 30, level 35? I can tell you that it is not locked to Blade Dancer. Shoot, this is going to test my knowledge of where things are unlocking on the tree already, because I don't think it bumps anything. I think it's unlocked. I don't know. I think it's unlocked at like level 20 in the base tree. I could be wrong. We may have shuffled things slightly in the base tree. It's not a Blade Dancer skill. It is a base rogue skill. Yes, I would love that. Thank you very much. That we can get solid info on that. That'd be great. We're getting. Someone's gonna help me out and tell me exactly where it is. But yes, this was the consideration behind that was. Ooh, nice. The consideration behind that was there are certain builds and certain play styles that are already enabled by having Umbral Blades on them, and notably Bladestorm converted Umbral Blades on them right now, and we don't want to remove those builds from being possible or existing. So if we had locked it to a Blade Dancer exclusive skill, suddenly those builds just can't use it. Even I think we didn't even put it in the Blade Dancer tree because we didn't want people to have to invest in the Blade Dancer tree if they didn't want to, if they weren't already, because it just changes the passive dynamics so much. I think if you are going to Bladestorm from Falconer, for example, there'll be things in the Blade Dancer tree early that you'll be interested in, so you might anyways, but it's a choice instead of a force, which is something that we want to do. I'm gonna look like a fool if it's not that. Okay, right now it's level 10 passive in Rogue, so it looks like Decoy is moved slightly. And I'm not. We'll figure. We'll sort out exactly what those are later. But like, there's no dramatic changes that are like, okay, Decoy's now locked or something like that. No, Decoy's still everyone. There's a little shuffle that happened. You'll get it fairly early. I assume that's the important part about this, is that it's just not locked. Alright, considering how the press podcast tour went so well for season 2, will season 4 see HG reps getting out there into the community and spreading the hype? I sure hope so. I got to be involved in 2 of those, I think. 1 or 2 of those. It was so much fun. I loved it. And I loved watching the ones that I wasn't able to go on. Like getting Ross and Judd and Holly out there was fantastic. Don't remember who else went on those. If someone else did as well, I'm sure someone else did. I'd love to see that again. It's great. I don't know if we're doing it though. I know this question was asked recently, and Derek was going to get back, figure that out, sort of thing. I think we're still in the figure it out stage. Ooh. Well, hello there, beautiful. Not quite as good, but you might be worth something if we work on you. Now that is pretty. Okay. I'm going to try and turn these boots into new boots. This is our new boot target. Because we're short on health, but we've got health on our boots right now. I've got a 2 LP pair of Yulia's Path. I'm gonna go for it with these. I'm gonna go for it with those. We've got to figure out other stuff to get in there and try and roll the health higher. But we're gonna go there. I think we might roll the health first, because the other stuff's just a backup anyways in case we miss. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I'm excited. I want to go craft. Let me go craft. And it's that G key again. Portal's on the wrong key, apparently. My brain still. I should just switch it in here. Okay. Little breather. Okay, here's our boots. They are +4, so that's good. And we want the health is the most important thing. The traversal's nice. I know health is not like technically the most important thing, but it is for us right now. I do want to know where's just a pair of boots.
Yes.
I don't know why I did it this way. What am I doing? Okay, we are going to... We want moves. Move speed's the next most important one. So we want to try and seal this first. We want a high roll on this. That high roll on that's the most important thing. Okay, let's try to... refinement. It's up to 180, right? Yeah, okay. So we are going to re-roll. Okay. Okay, game. Sure. Thank you. All right. I don't even. I don't. Okay, so we're gonna try and seal this so that we can put movement speed on here. So one of the fallbacks is movement speed, which we also really want. or we could get hybrid health. Yeah, I think hybrid health would actually be a better secondary. So we're gonna seal this, and this is a much higher chance to seal. Great. Hybrid health. We're gonna get this. Oh, that hurt. That last one hurt. Oh, that last one hurt. It's okay though. That was bad. I was really hoping to get to roll this at least once. That's fine though. So we do have a moderately rolled hybrid health, a low rolled T3, which is actually what we want. We want to hit that T3 minion damage and transported one. I'm ready. I'm ready for these boots. Okay. I know those weren't what I wanted, but too bad, Mike. We're doing this. Yeah, that 21 Forge Angel hit hard. But you know what? We got so lucky earlier in it that I will accept that with a single tear instead of a whole cry face. All right, do this. Watch him fail, Jula. Aww. To be fair, that would be very on brand for me.
Escape is impossible.
Almost did. Tried to get cute with it. All right. Here we go. We're going for the health because we just I guarantee you it's basically the same as what we're already wearing. Wow, whatever. The health's the best one, and then we hope we get either second. We just don't want the dexterity. Just not dexterity. Just whatever it is, not dexterity. Are we really not going to have any shaman love on these upcoming seasons? If there is, can you please tease us at least one? I don't have any shaman teasers specifically today. Like I always say this, like every class gets something every season. I think we do really like to do bulk updates. Shaman did get a kind of ridiculously powerful build last season. Not maybe what a lot of people were hoping for, but there's I think it's fair that there's more focus elsewhere other than Beastmaster and Shaman and like Primalist in general this season. But there are some things. It's not nothing. Okay. All right, we'll take the double health. We will take the double health. Not what we were hoping for, but let's see what our health does. 200 more health? Not bad. How's the other stuff? Yeah, there's other stuff's comparable. It's fine. The endurance healing, yeah, like this was better roll based, but not hugely. I am happy with that. I will take that and be happy. All right. Well, at some point here, I'm going to have to figure out how to play this game and actually beat this boss. My gear will actually be good enough, and I won't have an excuse anymore. But hopefully not too soon. I don't know how long. I've only got like a month left to do this. I've got like what, 4 streams to succeed. I gotta get back to playing in the downtime here. been playing on the new stuff. Their death animation looks kind of funny when they're like mid-charge. All right. Good evening, Mike. Good evening. If possible, could you talk about the current imprint system, specifically towards the way an exalted item can drop an upgraded version of the imprint? Examples such as a single tier 7 adding another exalted affix, or in the situation of a tier 7/6 exalted item, can the tier 6 affix potentially upgrade to a 7? Any help and clarification on this subject is much appreciated. There's the variety of things that it can do is extreme. Like pick a property on the item, it can change that. Like there's not really a going through the entire algorithm for how it changes is and please do not take this as a literal what the algorithm actually is, because I don't know the order it goes in. It's been a while since I've actually looked at the exact algorithm, but it's basically along the lines of look at the base type. Do we change that? Okay, great. Here's the reroll the base type. Cool. Do we reroll the implicits? Yeah, okay, reroll the implicits. Great, there we go, the new implicits. Do we change affix 1? Or do we change any affixes? Or do we change affix 1? Do we change affix 2? Do we upgrade the affix? Do we change it to something new? Do we reroll it? Do we like, it kind of just goes through the whole item and just decides if it's going to change something or not. And it's so many different points that it can be like, do I change this? Do I change this? Do I change this? That like pretty well anything can happen. And usually when it is changing something, it's going back to the like what could it have when it dropped algorithm sort of thing, where it's like, okay, if we're replacing this stat with a new stat, it's just like it just goes to the item generation and just generate me a new stat that this could have. Or if it's, you know, like if it's changing the affix, it just goes to like reroll the affix. It could be anything. It could go up, could go down. It's not like it's incrementing it. It's not like because it's 6, it's more likely to go to 7. If there's no exalted, like if the item's already exalted, it's more likely to be exalted at the end, sort of thing, because that's the rarity roll at the start. I think. Actually, I don't know if it is. I don't know if you already have one T7. Okay, I don't know the answer to this. I don't know if a 7/5 has a higher chance, or I don't know if a 7/6 has a higher chance to go to a 7/7 than a 7/5. So if you have a 7/6 and a 7/5, I do not know if one has a higher chance to go to a 7/7 than the other. I do know that the 7/6 will have a higher chance to be a 7/6 than 7/5. So the 7/6 is still better to imprint. There's so many little details, and like I just don't know the specifics on how it exactly works, without going to like look into it. It's a ridiculous function. It's huge. All right. Like it starts out, because it rolls to see each individual thing that's going to change. Chances of it completely changing the item into something completely unrecognizable is very low. But it can happen where like you put in like I've got this chess piece sitting here, like another chess piece, like the Falcon can drop or the Kestrel can drop, and like that could be the roll from that, you know? Think. Oof. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can go up to uniques. It's ridiculous the things it can do. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Ladle. Oh, that was a strength health ring. We like seeing those. I've been playing a bit of that small indie game called Diablo 2 Resurrected recently. I like the idea of sacrificing your minion to gain a buff for yourself. It gives a different spin on minion-centric class like Primalist and Necro. Have you guys explored minion sacrificing in the game? Yeah, I mean, we have the Necromancer has an ability called Sacrifice. And it sacrifices your minion, frequently gaining buffs based on the minion sacrificed. You know, like there's there's definitely like similarities there that we've explored. Yeah. There's probably room for more. There's always room for more. Feather bones. What's our feathers like?
Another glorious.
A lot of feathers. We're gonna go bones.
Never ends, traveler.
Hey Mike, you need to put bear in defensive mode instead of offensive. It will help a lot. Okay, thanks. I will do that. Appreciate the help. Alright, so no Voidcaster Barbarian. I can't say I've seen anyone pitch a Voidcaster Barbarian. On the topic of out there classes that I know aren't getting done, but Mike wants to see. If you want your Mike's equivalent of a Voidcaster Barbarian, I want like a Tinkerer Trickster class, like of like a I don't know exactly what the masters would be. It'd be like Jester, Trickster, Tinkerer, Engineer, things like that. Maybe there's two classes there. I don't know. All right, my girlfriend played last Epoch a lot. She absolutely hates the interrupt casted by selecting a new echo. Is there any way I can brighten her day by telling her EHE is fixing that? Well, we're fixing might be a strong term for what we're doing. Smoothing might be a better term. We are so there's a new thing called echo chains coming next season. And this is Mike's face as he panics before he realizes if it's actually been on the roadmap or not. But I'm pretty sure it is, so we'll roll with it. And it does still bring you back to Echo of a World in between each echo. So you don't go like the portal that you take from this one doesn't go directly to the next one because it still has to have the moment of unloading and reloading. But it does have a direct portal from the Echo of the World to continue that echo chain, and also and you kind of selected multiples in a row, and the things you do in Echo of a World in MREST, and I guess what's the name? This place. So this portal still takes you to this place, but instead of there being two things here, there's one thing. So it's much easier to just kind of flow through it. And then there's a portal that takes you directly to the next one. So you don't have to like select a new one, you just keep going. So the time you spend in here, there's less context switching. Because especially if you haven't picked up a ton of things, you can just kind of like come through here, you spawn, click, get things, click, and you're going. And like you're through. So it's like seconds in here instead of like, okay, I'm gonna pick this up, I'm gonna pick this up. I'm gonna mess around with some stuff. I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna select my new one. What's my new strategy here? It flows a lot better. So there's we are addressing the flow of that a little bit, but it's not necessarily a complete shift. Mike didn't actually do any organizing in between streams this time, and it's showing. What's going on here? I like this one. So looks cool. Hello, Mike. Any new sub skills? Some updates, reworks, lesser procs, cooldowns, maybe? There are. I mean, there are triggered abilities and sub skills related to Shadowrend and Bladestorm. Are any of them full on new skills, or they just are they other ways to trigger existing ones? I don't. I think one of them is fully new. Any news on sub skills? Whoops. Is there some specific sub skill issue that you'd like changes on? The base functionality on how they work is sticking around, which I think is working really well. It's one of the most popular ways to trigger things. Like it's one of the most popular build systems are usually involving triggering skills. We've been looking at we've been improving the data collection and collation and displays internally for stuff, and there's a lot. We're now able to see more clearly the relationship that players have of specialized abilities versus equipped abilities, and a lot of builds have like a non-specialized ability on their bar. This probably isn't such a surprise. It wasn't really a surprise. I guess the volume was a little bit of a surprise to me. In certain cases, certain abilities being more frequently taken as unspecialized, like the rate that people are using them is like 10 times higher than the rate they're specializing them in some cases, which is cool. But that means that there are like builds like that are relying on triggered abilities, at least one triggered ability, or else there's just wasted slots. And I'm aware that there's like sometimes druid stuff is a bit of an outlier there. Maybe a good teaser time. Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good, bud. How about this? Like, yeah, it doesn't show up on screen. Nice. Okay, cool. Making sure. Here is a node for. Here's a node for Shadowrend. I have a Shadowrend node. Boom, Shadowrend node. Here we go. Shadowrend can become a traversal skill. So this is what the traversal node for Shadowrend looks like. Cool. Okay, just saw you and Justin comment on the black hole node saying the damage pen is more effective versus low health enemies and being confused as to why it said that. Pretty sure it's from the olden days of protections before resistances, since back then the lower your health, the bigger the impact protection as such penetration would have. Yeah, that is totally right. That's cool. I did not, because he messaged me. He saw the post first and messaged me. He's like, "Do you have any idea why?" I'm like, "No, I have no clue." I'm like, "It's probably some like old thing that from forever ago. I just didn't remember." But yeah, you're totally right. That's what it was. Whoever that is, good catch. Really good catch. That's exactly what it was. That's cool. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, we used to have, before we had resistances, we had protections, which functioned completely different. And the switch from protections to resistances is part of the reason why we have our resistances are the 1% penetration happening after cap. My fire resistance is only 65? I'm not fire res capped? What? Oh, it's because I changed the boots out. That's totally the new boots. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Okay. We'll figure this out. We'll figure this out. Alright, we're gonna move this. It's gonna be too small in the corner, I think. Usually line up with my health globe or my mana globe. Is that worthwhile to have there in the corner like that? Or is that just like distracting and bad? Someone let me know if that sucks and I'll just remove it completely. Derek likes it. That's enough for me. Cool. I just like leaving the teasers that we've shown up there if we can. All right. All the best, Mike. Thank you. Will we potentially see more updates / additions to the Rift Beast mechanic? It starts off fun initially, but eventually tapers off once you get the right rolls on your amulet, or whatever other piece you're using for it, I guess. Yeah. Would be great to see some additional features to keep it feeling fresh. I agree. I think that we will not see a ton of changes in season 4 on it, mostly because I think we're gonna see a there's some tweaks probably coming for it in season 4 that'll have some like minor adjustments, especially to the items you can get from it. But the actual functionality of the system itself won't be as won't be majorly changed. I think it could be part of a. I'd like to do some I'd like to do some tweaks to a few of them at once. Like I'd love to tweak, like go through and be like, here's a minor adjustment to, like mages and tombs and nemesis and dinosaurs, like all at once, like just like a little bit here and there for all of them. That's cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm gonna lose these. Come on. Don't go away on me now. You're here. Thank you. Oh. All right. Oh, I was hoping it was a 2 for a second there. Ooh, that's a good one. It was a low roll though. We don't need no experience no more. Oh yeah, because does that mean, did I already switch this out? Yes, I already switched that out. Cool. We're still hoping for another amulet. Because while this one's good, we want great. You know? That's cool. We're just gonna do this one that we just found. Oh, my CDR, not minion. Still cool though. And these were, yeah, okay, see, like these are definitely, those ones look like it probably are too. Hard to tell. These ones are definitely triggers from my imprint. Nope, we haven't done this yet. Alright, have you seen the theory that Raya is the possible pinnacle fight for season 4? If so, what are your thoughts on that? I watched Aaron's video on it, and I've seen a couple posts on a few platforms since then. Love it. There's things in there that I'm like, that's some, like, wow, people are digging deep and finding what they want to find, and it is fantastic. I loved it. Watching that was fantastic. Game guide. G for game guide, Mike, not T for game guide. All right. I just have to be more picky on what we're picking up right now, because I'm just like, yes, take it all. It is resulting in way too much stuff. All right, what are some of the cool ones we can do? Is there anything like uncompleted in the area? I mean, sure. I don't even have access to it. Does Blood Tether sub-skill? Ooh, Blood Tether. Rip Blood? Yeah, it is Rip Blood. Blood Tether, Rip Blood, boss. Yeah, okay, cool. Got it. Check bleed every tick for its more damage bonus, or does it only check when applied? A different blood tether? Blood tethers an enemy, drawing blood from them to deal physical damage over time, deals 1% more damage per bleed on the target. 3% of the damage dealt is leached as health. That will check when it deals the damage, not when it's applied. Yeah, I mean, I should really go look and see how it's implemented, because it is possible to implement it both ways. It is technically possible to implement it both ways. If I was implementing that from scratch, I would do it as per tick, because it's a single stat line as per tick, and it is a very complex check otherwise. Close. I do think the bear's better on defensive mode, so thank you for that. Hi Mike, what are the things that take longer to complete when working on a new season, and why, if possible? I understand that uniques are the fastest. Uniques aren't really the fastest, more so that they have some of the fewest like knock-on implications. And they're very self-contained, so it's like they don't rely on other departments as much. And they usually don't require a lot of like back and forth. And like once it's rare that they have big QA issues. Usually they pass through QA pretty quickly, and so they're usually fairly smooth to do, which is why they end up going in late. The things that usually take the longest are anything that goes through many departments. So like creating a new enemy goes through almost every department, sort of thing, because it starts with like a 2D concept art. And then it gets into like a blocking. At the same time, there's usually someone that's starting out like creating the functionality for it, where they're using like an existing enemy to like set up abilities for it. Those abilities need to get VFX that go with them, or sometimes they're using other abilities that already exist. Like there's usually like programming that needs to go into changing the behavior and maybe like new functionality. Maybe it needs to interact with certain other enemies in a specific way, or the environment in a specific way, or the abilities they have need to function in a new way. Like they need to pull enemies that are only frozen enemies need to get pulled, or something like that. We won't do that. That's bad. We're not doing that. But you know what I mean. There's like new functionality needs to get created sometimes, and then the art pipeline keeps going, where there's like 3D modeling. Then there's the 2D back to 2D art to do the texturing. And there's SFX for the like the creature sounds, VFX for any like visual effects that the thing has. There's just so many departments that it goes through, and it needs to like be like discussed and completed and checked at each stage, sort of thing. And like sometimes it can go through a few forms of iteration as well. Usually like a unique item by contrast, like the iteration that it's going to go through is really fast because we can just like slap on a modification for a skill, usually within a few minutes to get like a rough version to see if it's gonna be fun, or you can just look at it and kind of figure out if it's interesting or not. And like, so it's basically just like a few dudes in a room with it, so like typing text back and forth to each other is a lot faster than a whole group of people having to send pieces of their artwork back and forth. So usually things that are involved in heavy in the art pipelines are going to be take a lot longer to complete. So like as far as talking about individual things, full-on game systems that just incorporate tons of those things are going to take even longer, hopefully, obviously. So things like the new Omen window system. There's like new enemies that go with that. There's new like effects on the world, so like the level design has to be involved with that as well. There's like new just like objects that go into the world that aren't necessarily characters as well, that have the way they interact with those things and the way those things spawn, and the way you like interact with those in a game system way, like through the monolith, how those are found. And there's lots of because it has heavy playtesting implications as well, you need to see how it feels, so it has to go through full builds. You can't just necessarily do it in editor. You have to like actually build it so that it can get put out to the team at a larger scale, and have like focused playtest groups that happen. And like, so those systems take even longer because they incorporate so many of those various art pipeline things and other pipelines as well. Yeah. I need to tighten up this loot filter a bit. We're getting to the point where we're like, we've been sitting at 1,000 corruption for a while. I found so many things. Okay. Next question. Are there plans for every class to have 4 masteries? Or are there plans for more classes? Or like, yes. Are there these things going to be part of the paradox classes? Or are these things going to be part of the paradox classes? Well, no, there's going to be more of both. Probably can't share much on that. There's just like more of everything. But I thought I would ask anyways. Thanks for all the information and insight on these dev streams. Your studio is really the only one doing this, and community appreciates it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So we do have plans still for more base classes. We do have plans for more mastery classes. We do have plans for more paradox classes. We do have plans for more, or what's in that list? Everything sort of thing. It kind of depends how the like pipeline evolves for those things. It depends on how the reception for those things evolves over time. Like we've got a lot of long-term plans for things, and you know, those plans are quite often, hey, here's 50 things we want to do, and we're pretty sure we're going to do them in orders 1 through 50. But you know, depending on how 7 goes when it gets sent out, we might move 23 up to spot 14, and we might push 8 back down to 53 or whatever, you know, like, so it's fluid to a point. And we really want to add, like, there's so many ideas floating around, like I mentioned earlier, like random classes that I'm like, I wish I could do this. And like, the reason I don't think those specific ones that I'm talking about are going to happen is because I do know that there are a few others that are much higher on the list, where when we're making certain things for existing content, we're like, okay, we probably shouldn't put that in right now because such and such mastery is probably going to want to do that same thing. We need to like leave room for it. Sure, don't die here. Big hit, one more. You can do it. Nice. Garbaggio. There we go. I even looked down at my keyboard and pressed the G key. Oh my god. Who's got space? I see some space. Those ones already are full too. Oh, there's space here. We're going rogue. Let's do another teaser. Okay. Good idea. Let's go to one of these teasers. Here is a little clip of let's do this one. Here's a new cosmetic thing that can happen in the game. This is a cosmetic effect. This is a character effect. So currently there's only one character effect that exists in the game cosmetic system at all, and it is limited to one person. And so we are adding more character effects into the game. Coming next season. Yeah. Little sparkly boy. The Cosmic Presence. I think that's what it's called. I think this one's gonna look weird how I stuff it in the corner though. So let it run through one more time here. It seems to be jumping at the end. I don't know if that's just on my end. Gotta be the most impractical way to hold an arrow in that bow. All right, have you guys figured out what to do? What you want to do with dungeons? I've got some very strong opinions on this. They feel like one of those things that doesn't quite work at the moment, yes, but have massive potential. I agree. Something like a mini WoW raid with a pool of randomized escalating boss encounters. I think that would be a very big shift. That's not where I'd go with it probably. We are specifically looking for. I mean, that is an option though. Like I don't want to be like, no, that's not happening. I don't know what's going to happen. My pitch for it is integrating the procedural generation system into them. I think that the key hallmarks of a dungeon in Last Epoch, anyways, is that it does have a specific theme and core mechanic that is unique to the dungeon, facilitated by an additional ability. And that's a very broad description, which is what I love about it so much. So I've got a little scratch pad that I keep of like when dungeons are back on the menu. I got pitches to go, and you know I think there's a lot of room for cool stuff you can do, and I think looking at there's a lot of games like you look at like a Zelda dungeon for example, and sorry if you've heard this one before, but I've said this one quite a few times. You look at basically any Zelda dungeon, and it has a special. You start the dungeon off, and there's this room, this big grand room. There's a giant chest in it. There's a big eye on the wall up ahead, and you're like, I wonder how I get to that. Let's go through this side door and see if I can explore this way. And you go and you explore and you fight some people and you kill a mini boss and you get back to the first room. And you've got this key to this big chest down. You open it. There's a bow in it. Suddenly you can shoot the arrow and progress to the next part of the level of the dungeon. And in the second half of the dungeon, every problem is solved by using the bow. Now this is a very like straightforward, clear-cut example, and I think there's, I think that the way that it takes the mechanics of the thing you find in the dungeon and applies it to the puzzles in the dungeon is cool and interesting. And I think that's kind of the same approach that I have towards what dungeons could be in Last Epoch, where there is because you get that extra ability. So there's a puzzle, for example, you're going through a labyrinth, and this is the Jorah's the name of it is Temporal Sanctum, and there's like blocked paths, and you switch to the other one, and there's the path isn't blocked in the other timeline. By using time travel, you can get around the blocks because you're maneuvering through the dungeon in multiple timelines. And so I think there's a lot of potential with here's a tool and here's a bunch of puzzles that can be solved with it. I'd love to have there be more different types of puzzles that can be solved with it. And I know this doesn't quite translate directly from an ARPG to an adventure game, and but that's the theming that I really like to get in on dungeons, because I think there's room for unique gameplay styles to exist in that. and room for certain classes to have abilities that synergize with it, and certain situations where you're like, oh, I can just get around this portion of the dungeon. There's like 3 puzzles to do with it, but because I'm a blank class, I can use this ability to trivialize one part of it or something. I think that's cool. I think that's interesting. I think if we had 20 dungeons that each used procedural generation and had different things that fit into all those categories, it would be it would be a really fun system. And that's a huge undertaking of massive proportions to get that all set up and done. And like the first major hurdle is having the procedural generation work with it, which just doesn't right now. Not even close. So we are a long way from doing anything like that. And, you know, it has to go through design discussions, and there's chances of the thing I've pitched being the thing that's taken just outright is basically 0. So don't expect what I just said to happen exactly as I said it. But that's how I feel about dungeons and what I'd like to see with them. I think they have room to be awesome. Okay. Can we expect a new endgame deterministic crafting rune glyph like or woven echo mechanic? Yes. A deterministic crafting rune. In season 4, the only new rune coming in season 4 is corruption. Is there a new crafting echo? I don't think there's any new crafting echoes in season 4. There might be one. Don't think there is. I know there is one that we've been talking about. I don't know if it made it into it or not. Is the problem.
Is incomplete.
Right. Oh. Hey, red rings are a different color. I got excited for a second over nothing. It's okay. No need to panic. Don't freak out. Yeah, do I want? I do want. But what do I want? This? Yeah, that's worth rolling. Let's see what it gets. I mean, not what we want. It's not bad. Doing the wrong hotkeys for that too. All right, Mike, controller support is still developing. Yes, I do like it, but will there be a better way to target locations for skills to drop? For instance, Frostwall seems to drop at random locations, especially if you aren't facing a cardinal direction. Interesting. This is a Frostwall controller support is actually what I just had to deal with. Not for season 4, but there's for a new mechanic that we're adding to Frostwall in a future thing had a controller targeting issues that we had to deal with. I don't know of any specific changes for controller targeting. I know it is something that in general we've been working on. I don't play with controller myself when we're doing playtests, but I do know that there are at least UI things that people have been working on, and controller just functionality and feel has been really important lately, especially considering the upcoming push towards going to console. So yes, it is being worked on. Do I know exactly what's happening with it? I'm sorry, I don't. But like controller support in general, the goal is for when LEO comes out on console to be okay, great. It has controller support. There's no, but it's got this issue, or but it's. When people ask if it has controller support online, the goal is the response that people generally just see is yes. And we know that there are things that need to change before we get to that point. We can do this jump. Yeah, it's a big one. All right, next question. Hi, Mike. Thank you for doing these streams. You're welcome. Love doing it. So thanks for showing up. Because the only reason I get to keep doing them is because you guys keep showing up. All right. I'm laughing because every time I open the game guide, I'm trying to portal. And a fire red stride. We need those apparently. Thank you for doing these streams. We appreciate them. We see a question. We see a lot more necro teasers last week. We saw a lot more necro teasers last week. Any hope that the set item Lich's Scorn will also see some love? Ooh, that's one of the sets that I didn't actually look at. I don't know if I got anything. Most sets you could have said, and I would have been like, yeah, I know that's getting some changes. I didn't look at that one. I don't know if it's getting anything. Sorry. I'm not the only one that was looking at them though, so that's not a no. I wish it was just like a little bit smarter with the sword. You know? Wish I was a little bit smarter with the sorting too sometimes. Whatever. That's not good enough to keep. That's not good enough to keep. Nope. Nope. I mean, those can probably stay. All right. Mike, quick question. Gold. Is there plans to change the bazaar so your good items you're selling aren't restricted to low prices due to others? Is there plans to change the bazaar so your good items you're selling aren't restricted to low prices due to others? Like a way we have the game set when auction prices are. Like a way to have the game set what auction prices are. I'm a little confused by this. I think the answer is just no. Like if the game's deciding it, then it sort of just becomes like a vendor, like a shop system, where the supply is limited by the number of people supplying the shop. So it's no longer an auction system, really. I think I'm not understanding the question properly. I think as written it's just no. Sorry. Side question to this: would there be is there any plans to introduce like a WoW token or easier ways to get the 500 mil gold sometimes wants for an item on the bazaar? The saying 1.5 billion is low. Oh. Okay. First off, I would say that the auction prices, the bazaar, the prices on the bazaar right now are kind of all over the place and weird because there are, like the population. How do I say it? Like the population of players that are here have most frequently, that are playing Merchant's Guild most frequently are probably been here for quite a while. There's probably a very low amount of people playing Merchant's Guild in like the middle bracket of like in-game wealth sort of thing. It's probably most people who are like crazy mega wealthy, people are just like joining in. So there's like a lot of things that are getting posted at weird prices. Would be my guess. As for like tokens or something like that, we've been exploring different ways for like to break into the market and have like here's a single use reward for your character for the season to get into it and get moving and have that value effectively change as the season changes. But I don't think we have anything major changes, like functionality changes aren't happening to COF and MG this season primarily. We do have that on the roadmap for season 5, I think. Specifically stuff for COF coming then is going to be great. Oh my god, I can't wait. Not like power differences really, but just I guess the and I hate talking about the season after the next one, but I think that also address the fact that we are aware that the flow of interacting with COF right now, with prophecies right now, is not quite landing. The functionality that we're getting out of them and the outcome of them is, I think, working pretty well overall, but the flow of interacting with them is not working the way we want it to. And it needs a bit of a take apart and put back together. Clarity in the original question. If I get a 3LP, I won't be able to sell it for more than 1,000 gold because 50 other people have that same item at that price. Yeah, I mean, that's just supply and demand, really. Like, if the item is, if there's so many of those items at 3LP and they're being listed at 1,000 gold, that's what they're worth. Like, it's not a good item to list because it's a really common, like, it might be a powerful item, but it's a common item. And so that's kind of the difference between Merchants Guild and COF, is that the difficulty to acquire items is not based on their rarity, but rather their quality. And usually the rarity of Merchants Guild is dictated by their popularity. So it's a different metric that's deciding how rare and popular things are. And the drop rates are usually focused, we're not looking at their popularity on the auction, on the bazaar, to see what the drop rates should be. Mike, what's for dinner? Good question. I think we're gonna make some turkey burgers. So we just picked up a bunch of ground turkey with some like feta and like some like red onion. What else we put in there? I think we put mint in there. Some like eggs, panko. What else do we put in the recipe? Yeah, turkey burgers, I think. We might do tortas instead, though. Actually, my wife's been talking about tortas for a few days, and she just got some ciabatta buns, and they tend to go bad fast. So we might roll with that instead. And the turkey's good for like 4 days, so we'll see. Now you're hungry. Sorry. I know I'm missing something out of that recipe for the turkey burgers, but we do make very good turkey burgers. I will stand by those turkey burgers. Playing mostly Legacy this season, and I'm seeing these defunct affixes that are stuck. Any way to make them chaosable in the future? No. So those are the result of like an affix that's changed, and so there are a few specific situations where they're sealed affixes. So they're locked in place where they are. They're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything with them. And we did that because we're like, we can't have them be. When that happens, the actual affix ID that is, so like I don't know what the ID. They all got reshuffled at some point, but the affix ID that is like armor. I think armor is 0. Is just 1. Is ID 1 or ID 0 maybe. And there is. If we remove an affix, if we're like, okay, we don't want increased armor to exist anymore as an affix, we'll pull that out. Maybe that's ID 1. This is 0, that's 1. It's not, but let's just say it is. And we want to slap something. We want to put something else into that slot, into ID 1, because we don't want to just keep tacking things to the end of the list. All of the items that already exist with that affix on them get sealed as a specific stat on the item later. And then we can reuse that slot basically, so that the shard doesn't it still exists, but you can't have the shard of the thing that was existing before drop, so you can't modify it. Or like apply that shard to new items. You can't shatter it to get that shard out to apply to something new. Yeah. Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh no, that's what. Okay, sorry. I was just thinking back to the crafting those boots for a second, and I was like, why didn't I Rune of Creation it to have 2? Just because I thought 21 could survive a roll. I wasn't done then. That's why. All right. Let's go find a belt. Go find a belt. Are there any widespread changes for ailments applied by slow skills with high damage effectiveness, like ignite volatile zombies? There are not. Season 4 does not have any widespread changes for this. This is a topic that comes up literally every season. The ramp up to the season happens, and the conversations around this start to pick up again, and we talk about this again internally, and we kind of come to the conclusion of we can't really do any of the suggestions we've seen. We don't have a good way to do this. Sorry, not happening. And we move on with the season. This has happened the last like 5 seasons in a row. Like this is a topic that gets discussed. It is a thing that gets put on. We don't know how to do this right now, so we're not going to do it because all the ideas we have major holes in them, and we move on. If you have a good way of doing this, and you want to see it, keep suggesting it. We'll talk about it again, but it's not happening in season 4. I believe eventually it will, but I don't know specifically when. Sorry. That's a cool item. Not very good, but it's cool. Another teaser. You got it. Let me just not die first. I think not dying is gonna be my first priority. So cool. All right. Here is the new and improved tooltip for a skill that you may recognize. See if you can tell me what's different. Let's play Find the Difference. I don't know if it says it right on it actually. I'm gonna go look at the original tooltip and see if it's what it says there. Yes, okay, it is on the original tooltip. Cool. Something's missing. Eagles. Absolutely nothing. 112 damage is about what it did in the in game before. Savage. But you know, fair enough. Cooldown. Cyborg's got it. It does not have a cooldown anymore. There we go. I'm looking at chat right now. Are they evading reading our questions or what? What am I supposed to do? If you put at last Epoch game, if you want to read get us to read a question, it has to have at last Epoch game to know it's coming towards us. Not all the questions get sent over. I'm also really far behind. I'm a page and a half behind on questions. So if a question's been just put in, it's got a long ways to go. I'm sorry. I'm a little slow sometimes. I like to get chatty, and I'm realizing we only have 40 minutes left. I get to get through a page and a half, so I am going to try and run through. Questions do get skipped sometimes if it's something that we've talked about a lot, or if it's wildly inappropriate. I don't know what the question was. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at chat normally. I'm just looking at it right now. But I'm going to go back to the questions and try and power through some of these. All right. There are 2 nodes for Volatile Zombie, Awakening Presence, and Effigy Combustion that don't work as advertised on the tin. Are these actual bugs or circuit breakers you put in to limit their power? Effigy and Combustion target empty space randomly instead of nearby enemies like it says. Awakening Presence does not consistently. Bone Prison minions or the bone prison ones might be because they can't move, so it might have it needs to be a mobile minion. Or when zombies are on cooldown, despite no tooltips about that. Yeah, that might just be a missed thing. I don't know. If you make a bug report about it, we can take a look at it. Awakening presence and effigy of combustion. Awakening presence. Quick look here. Minion dies, you have a chance to cast volatile zombie at its location, expending its mana cost. This cannot be triggered by zombies or corpse parasites. Okay, it might also require it to be a mobile minion, so I don't know. That might just be a missed thing there, or a mistake. Make a bug report about it and we can check it out. That's the sort of thing. It doesn't sound like it's a specific thing that was intended to be limiting. To me, anyways. An effigy. Yeah, that should be easy. That should be like that's a standard thing. Targeting at an enemy is like a really standard thing. It maybe if the enemy is moving really fast or dies in between casting and having it actually cast, it could have a bug there, or just low performance. Like it's just not good. Let's keep moving. Yeah, so make a bug report and it'll get looked at. I don't know off the top of my head. It doesn't seem like there's anything in there that would mean it shouldn't work. Bone prison, we often don't consider bone prison for minions specific because you can make so many of them. And if that's the case, it should say mobile minion or non-stationary minion. Avalanche gets me every time. Oh, all right. Is there any scope to truncate the damage numbers? Yeah, from 48 to 249 to 48k. Yeah, this is one of those things that I've talked about a lot. It's like as soon as we're putting letters in the damage numbers, I think there's a problem. And I think we're just about there, aren't we? I don't think we've done that. I'm sad to admit that I think we're getting close to needing to. Not paying attention and I walk past things that I want. I'm going back for them. They're mine. I earned them. Icon beside the damage system doesn't know where the damage came, what skill the damage came from. Adding that extra data in is not something that it is prepared to do. But there is need for a little bit better information on how damage is coming through that we're seeing from the community, or like desire for that anyways. I think having the option to change the color would be nice. So you can see like red is fire, that sort of thing. I'd also love to see the option to like remove damage numbers below a threshold. That'd be nice. Like I don't care. Like I just saw 15. I do not care about a 15 damage number showing up at all. Part of the reason it's there is so you can tell that something is happening. Because like I do like seeing my swipe damage numbers, just knowing that I'm hitting. But the maelstrom damage is completely pointless to see, and it's just cluttering up the place. All right, that's something that I genuinely want to know. Will there be new endgame content coming to last Epoch? Absolutely, every season has new endgame content. Yeah. Easy one. I don't feel the impact of the Harbinger faction very much. Any potential to introduce more Nemesis buffs to the Harbinger faction? Maybe. I think there's room for more mechanical changes there. I think there's room for things. I'd love to see like options in there. Be like you pick A or B. Like the it sounds kind of funny that we're saying this because it was I remember being not pleased with the system overall, but like I wouldn't even call it out specifically then. Just the like pick like an A or B at different points, so you can be like, I think it might be cool to be able to like customize this a little bit instead of having it just be a single track, and have them be a little bit more powerful. But yeah, there's some adjustments that can happen here a little bit, I think, and we've been talking about that, but it's nothing for season 4 really, not much anyways. Are there potentially any changes to make switching from MG to COF a bit less punishing in terms of having to leave behind certain pieces of gear that we collected from the original faction that you're part of? No, that is a very integral part of the system, and we have no intention of changing that. That is one of the core key things that is required by the system to function the way we want it to function. That is, if you can think of a better way to deal with that, it's worth talking about. You know, we're always open to things like that, but I really don't see a way that we could have the systems exist simultaneously, being able to transfer gear that you're wearing between them, that you found with one or the other, without major problems. Because we don't want... One of the things when we were designing the system, one of the really important things that we were talking about was that the meta of round picking Merchant's Guild or COF should be... Like, the ideal scenario is... when someone goes to the forums and they say, hey, should I play MG or COF? Which one do I do? It's do you want to trade or not? That's the answer. And yeah, I'm sorry, I'm really far behind. And I think we're doing pretty well with that, because we know that people are playing COF more than MG, and MG is more powerful. So it looks like, and I could be wrong, but it looks like the decision of which one to pick is mostly being driven by what you want to do, not by what you're feeling forced to do from the meta. But if you could switch between them, I think it would be... If you could switch between them and take your gear with you, it would cause problems. It would cause a lot of problems. All right. Why does the shattered glass look like a bird? I have no idea. I really think that's just like, this might not be the actual term, but you know, like Rorschach tests, or like things look like things that you're seeing into them. I think it might just be that people are seeing what they're wanting to see. Will Shadowrend have nodes for mana generation? Replacing shift with a high mana cost skill sounds dubious, but I'm excited to try it. Mana generation. I think so. What's this node? That's not a mana generation node. It has things that affect its own mana consumption, at least. We'll get into that more later. Are the aspect icons from Primalists going to change to represent better the animal of the aspect, like shark instead of teeth? I mean, I don't know about you, but when I think of sharks, teeth are like one of the first things that come to mind. But they probably aren't shark teeth. So I don't think there's any plans to change those icons, but I mean, that's the sort of thing that like it shows up in feedback, and we look at it and be like, that's a good idea, maybe. Because having it be easily and quickly recognizable as to what it is based on just the icon is very important. All right. Hey, Mike. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you too. Any past season mechanics getting updates? Also, any currency changes planned? Gold feels like it doesn't do much later in the game other than buy tabs, and doesn't help progress your character or power. Gold's kind of doing what it's meant to do. It isn't meant to be a like a big character progression thing. You can use it for character progression in the vaults. I think the vaults need to be more of a fun mechanic before we really allow that to be a core driving thing. And yeah, not season 4 won't see major changes to those other system mechanics, but you'll see minor changes. Any primordials with season 4? There's some updates to existing ones. I don't think there's any new ones, but I know some of them are getting changes. Some of them are getting buffs, some of them are getting nerfs. Yeah. Is there a way to check meters in the game? Like damage meters? Like be able to see like, there's 4 of us in here who's doing more damage sort of thing, and like how much damage is each thing doing? No, we don't have anything like that. We do not plan to add it either. Hi Mike, you can request it though in the suggestions channels. Hi Mike, maybe a rude cue. Sorry, but are you gonna try in the future to try making seasons as intended and not delaying them from fearing Big Brother PoE? I have no input on the timing of seasons at all personally. I think that the goal is to have, there's a lot of goals that are conflicting. There's a lot of goals that are putting pressure on when we release seasons, and they are not always working together. Sometimes they're working against each other. Regarding meters and distance, that makes a lot more sense. Oh. Canadian too. Should even have known you meant meters. There is the best thing I can say. I'll come back to the other one for a second. The best thing I can say is there are certain things you can see in the world that have distance, like the circle I'm standing on, and so you can look at certain things that say how big they are, and then you can use that as an indicator to gauge distances. That's the only way you can see it in the game. So I would recommend finding something that says how big it is and seeing how far it is in relation to this device, and then looking at other things to get a better feel of it. As far as launching, when we're launching seasons and patches, we do try to keep specific, we try and keep it as regular as a time frame as possible. There's lots of things that can cause that to change. One of those small things that can cause that to change is trying to avoid other releases of games. There's always other games releasing, so we're never going to avoid everything. There's a lot of people that, there's a lot of conflicting feedback we get about this. So there's players that play both PoE and Last Epoch, and there's players that don't, that play just one or the other. And the players that just play one or the other really want us to just not care at all what PoE does, and the players who play both want us to care extremely heavily what PoE does. And so we have lots of people giving us conflicting feedback on this, and it is one small piece in how we determine when we're going to launch a feature. Most of it comes down to just what's the soonest we can get this out with as much as possible at the quality we need it to be. That's the biggest thing. That's the primary driving factor. All right, I feel like Spriggan form and to an extent Swarmblade form are in a pinch because their skill trees are too stretched and they get too little support from Druid passive tree. I agree. Is there a plan to add granular bonuses like with the other passives, Paladin, Rune Master come to mind? To better support these two skills. You're the only guys on the market with a mecha bug. Come on. There is I've been talking about this recently. We were going over specifically Swarmblade a lot recently, talking about this, and there's some longer term plans for things that interact with this. Yes. Right. Hello, Mike. Are we getting new echo maps, new layouts like a few got in season 3? Yes. And are there also any new woven echoes? I believe there's a couple, but not many. So like, yes, but not a ton. There's the changes to the echo chains will, yes, because of that, a lot more than there's some things that have been like reworked to work with that are going to feel like new ones. And then there are a couple that are just flat on new, but there are enough changes that it's going to feel better in general. So yes, but I don't want to be like, yeah, there's a ton, when it depends on how you look at what's new. There might not be a ton. Are most sets getting changes then? I would say very significant. A significant number of sets are getting changes. Yeah. Why doesn't Swarmblade has the poison scaling tag? Does it have poison abilities by default? Do any of its abilities that it gets when it goes into Swarmblade form are they direct poison abilities? Just summon Hive poison? It's probably like a minion poison tag on Summon Hive or something. Swarmblade form, Summon Hive. Summon Hive is not poison. It doesn't have any poison abilities, that's why. Dive's not poison. Swarm Strike does not look poison. Iron Blade Slash is not poison. Yeah, it doesn't have any poison ability, so it's not poison. It should probably get one if you take this. I think that's, if it doesn't get one when you take this note, I think that's a mistake. Because Serpent Strike is very poison, and that makes Arm Blade Slash as a poison ability. Like, you put this and it gets poison, but that's not enough to, that's not like a conversion. This is a conversion. So I would consider this a conversion. I know we were looking, Scorpion doesn't get a poison tag. Scorpion doesn't have a poison tag. It's not a poison minion, which is crazy, right? That we are changing for probably for 1.5 though, unfortunately. So we just saw that. Hello, Mike. Are changes coming to prophecies and their symbols? Yes. I went to change a bunch of them, and I'm like, these are already changed. So someone already changed a bunch of them. Yes, there are prophecy symbols changed. Currently I have to hover over every single one because the symbols do not give enough information. For example, one with legendary items and rewards can roll with guaranteed legendary potential, costing way too much favor. Yeah, I don't know all of the changes, but I know some of them at least got changes. And that's something that's easy enough to change that I might be able to squeak in some more. If there's the more that need changing. But there are some that are different. Another teaser. Okay, I've just been rambling. I know I just kind of stopped playing and just started rambling because I'm so far behind in questions. Down to half a page. Okay. I've done good. I've caught up here. 1.5 leaks. Yeah, 1.5 leaks already. Storm Strike? Is Storm Strike poison? Am I just wrong? Storm Strike's physical. I think that if any of the abilities are converted to be poison, it should give the Stormblade poison. But I don't think any of them are poison by default. Storm Strike deals half its poison. Really? Whoops. For each locust consumed, Swarm gains 15 melee physical damage and 15 melee poison damage. Wild. I think that's probably a mistake then. It's probably because it's such a tiny amount of it that is why it doesn't have the tag. But yeah, it has poison at base. Oh, sorry, a correction from earlier. Someone, I just noticed here, someone mentioned that a WoW token is paying real money to buy in-game gold. No, I did not know that's what a WoW token was. We're not doing that. Just to be clear from earlier. No. Sorry. My bad. I was picturing like an item you found in the world that you could like use instead of paying the gold in game. Like, so like you find like a drop that's like, you get a free thing at the bazaar. Doing stuff like that. That's fine. Okay. I was doing something. Was I putting up a teaser? Should I put up a teaser? Who wants a teaser? Flappies. Okay. Here we are. Little cosmic flappies. Yeah, Mike. Mike. This is someone in chat named Mike, not talking to myself, Mike. But yes, people want pay to win. There are, yes, it is a like, it's something that I think a lot of players who maybe are a little bit on the older gamer side of things that I can relate to quite heavily, that are shocked at the idea of pay to win being something that's like people are interested in having in a game. But yeah, this is a fully legitimate thing that people request, like, surprisingly, to me anyway, surprisingly frequently. Yeah. It's nothing wrong with it, really. It's not. It's something that we're really not interested in doing, though. So just to be clear. But I just don't. I don't want it to be an unreasonable request. That's all. Riot wings. Riot confirmed. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Is there also going to be added animation when using the waypoints? The little text took me a few times to realize I noticed there is animation for rifts. Added animation when using waypoints. No. Like there's when you first go to a waypoint, it like there's like little like thing and like loads up. But other than that, I don't think we're changing that at all. All right. So let's crack one of these. Why not? What is stopping the use of push and pull mechanics and placing them on more abilities? I know there are issues making them not work great, but I'm not sure how easy they are to fix. I've been very vague about this very intentionally. They are subtle and very difficult to fix, but very problematic. And if they show up in a place like so we've allowed them to stay in specific places because we can kind of like mitigate the risks around them in those specific situations. And also because they kind of got grandfathered in a few spots. But there are certain situations where they can cause like pretty bad problems. If we just were like, yeah, slap it on that ability, great. Suddenly there'd be pretty heavy desync issues. Is the end result of what happens. And we have recently added in I think it's like for 1.4 we've added in some new things to like combat that, like to fix that when it happens. But we don't want to be fixing it when it happens. We want to be making it not happen in the first place. So it's something that we're definitely working on, and you know it's going in the right direction, but it's not ready yet. It's to a point where I'm not allowed to submit suggestions for it, for even LEO stuff. Those have been removed from the table for LEO design stuff. So it's like we're not expecting it to be fixed anytime soon, really, like fully fixed enough. But like this is the other thing as well, is there's been things like this where we're like, we can't do it, and we're just like avoiding doing things that relate to it, and then all of a sudden someone's like, I figured it out, and we're like, floodgates open. So you never know. Never know. That was a big hit. Yeah, big hit. Low roll. All right, easy peasy. Like when I go through a door, there is a little text that says I am teleporting, but the rifts have a whole animation. It caused me to spam A before realizing. Oh, A, like, oh, controller. Okay. When I go through a door, there's a little text that says I'm teleporting. Ah, I see what you're saying. Yes, there are specific spots where it says you're entering a specific zone. Yeah, there's certain types of teleports that the information on where you're going doesn't exist on the gameplay object that you're using to go there, and the decision on where to take you is happened by the server. But there are other times where when you open the portal itself knows where you're going, so that when you click on it, the UI can actually tell you where you're going to be going when you click on it. For example, the portal when you're leaving after you kill in the campaign, only in the campaign, when you kill Lagon, there's a portal. It doesn't tell, I actually don't know if this has been fixed or not, but it doesn't tell you where you're going, because that one has some weird stuff associated with it. Because it's opened, that portal's opened by a quest progression. And that was the first one to be problematic for this. I don't know if they all have them yet, but that is something that was being worked on. Because they should all say where you're going. 0. First of all, you're coming with me. You're coming with me too, and you're coming with me. I'm gonna just dump the rest of the stuff. Dropping these off. I know they don't go here. I will sort this out. I promise. Let's go. You 2, you're 1. Unfortunate. 15 minutes. Okay, well, we're gonna confirm this. We're gonna empower it. We gotta do another teaser. We got another teaser. We got one more teaser, guys. One more. How awesome is that? Handful of questions here. I got a couple minutes per question. I use a max roll build for I use max roll for build planning sometimes, and they have hover on stats like highlight sources. Any plans to do this for the character card to have a gold idol blessing, etc. Highlight. It's cool. I don't think we do, but that's neat. They've got that. I didn't know that. I literally have that build up right here. Where is it doing that? Oh, in the I understand. Okay, yeah, that's cool. I'll check it out. I haven't seen anything like that, but I think that sort of thing is the style of stuff we're looking to do. So like, put that in the suggestions channel, Discord, forums, wherever that we do suggestions. I'd love to have something like that in there. Will the tooltips for shadows be will the tooltips for shadows be reworked? Currently, it only mentions 4 skills, but also works with new skills like explosive trap. Yes, I'm pretty sure the tooltip got changed when we added Shadowrend because it and Bladestorm because it changes how it works. There, I think it also says, doesn't it say throwing abilities just inherently? So because explosive trap's a throwing ability, it just like works with it. I think the tooltip got adjusted anyways. Great shadow. Oh, it calls out specific abilities. So that tooltip. So the create shadow ability tooltip itself is being like, if you're looking at it on like last Epoch tools and it's pulling that tooltip from in the game, I don't think the ability create shadow is meant to actually have its tooltip displayed anywhere. Possibly, maybe, I don't know. So I think we had the actual functionality for it declared in the passive tree, and those abilities that it calls out in the tooltip were the only abilities that it worked with originally. It's probably what it is. And the tooltip says like throwing abilities would be my guess. Because there's lots of tooltips that have descriptions that we never meant to be player facing, but because they got behind, they are player facing through third-party websites, which is good, which is actually a good thing. But we have to go through and fix some of those still. I know we're already past string lock for season 4 though, so if it hasn't been changed, I don't think it will be changed. But I do think that the description for it in the passives got changed to be more generalized. All right, Swarm Strike having added poison damage really surprises me. Thought poison was special and that there was no such thing as poison hit. It's true, yes. And I didn't read the whole sentence. The way I read that sentence made it sound like it was hit. Sorry. This is just because it's so old. No, it does not do hit damage. It is dot. It's like the damage over time is added as melee poison. So it scales off increased melee damage, but it is still not a hit. I know it sounds weird. It's like how you can have a spell dot or a spell hit. So like disintegrate is a spell dot, but fireball is a spell hit. Swipe is a melee hit, but swarm strike is a melee dot. Yeah. Weird. All right. Hey Mike, any questions? Oh, that's how the damage is scaling. I think the swarm strike may itself be a spell. Focus swarm, base physical 2, skills attack speed. Melee, physical, strength, attunement. It can crit. Which deals damage over time to nearby enemies, but it has crit chance? Again, that crit chance might just be being pulled from the stat block, and it might not do anything. I am not confident enough at what it's actually doing under the hood to answer this question live. I'm sorry. Is not a hit. It says it right there. Is not a hit. There we go. Cool. Great. Perfect. Is not a hit. Not a hit. Wonderful. Final teaser. Yes, that's what I was going to do. Here is a node. Conversion node. We got a poison conversion to Shadowrend. Shadowrend gets poison. Yay! Another question pertaining to Beastmaster, most notably the Sabertooth. Yeah, Sabertooth is a tricky one. Will we ever see a fire version, Fire Tiger, in the future? Also, Fire Crows would be kind of cool too. Thanks. Fire is a tertiary element for Primals in general. We've been very hesitant to add it in basically anywhere. It has the original reason why it exists is because we were trying to make Tornado be interactable with a mage be casting Fireball into the Tornado to make Fire Tornado. That's the reason why Primals has any fire things on it in the first place, which sounds ridiculous. This is from like the Kickstarter days that we were trying to do this. There's been like a little bit more that sort of trickled in over the years. But yes, fire is a very low level element for Primals in general. It's possible. We've talked about some more conversions for Sabertooth. We've talked about some more conversions for crows. I don't want to say if that's specifically fire for either one of those, but things like that are sort of on the table. Why doesn't Swarm Strike have the dot tag then? I don't know. I do not know why Swarm Strike is the way Swarm Strike is enough to answer questions about it live right now. I'm sorry. I would love to. Yeah, it also doesn't have the poison tag. I think something's wrong with it. I think something's wrong with the tags there, and it's got some issues. That's my guess. In your blog post, you teased the enemy reaction to improve combat feel. Can you elaborate on this a bit? I'm really interested in those sorts of improvements. It's mostly like animation reactions. So how they like physically react to the hits they're taking, the direction those hits are coming from, the types of the types of damage it is, that sort of stuff. I'm not exactly sure the details on everything that is functioning with it, but it's reaction to the hits they're taking. So like even just small flinches when they take large hits that aren't full stuns has a big impact on things, or just how they feel. When you say can't do it, is that a technical constraint in the engine tooling, or is there an undesirable effects we can't mitigate? Ooh, it really depends which question we're talking about here. Both of those things. I've used that term for both of those things many times. I don't. If you know which, I forgot which one. If this is your question, and you know what it was when I said that and what it was referring to, please post it and I will tell you which one it is. But yeah, when I say can't do it, I'm sometimes it is an engine limitation, and sometimes it is a the way we've set up the game limitation. Like maybe it's a technically we could do it if we spent 6 months reworking this other system, and we can't justify such a massive change in this other system to then make this change that we're looking at. So sometimes it's a we can't justify doing it because it would require just like not implementing 2 more seasons in a row, sort of thing. You know, like it's so sometimes they'll say can't do it as sort of a blanket term for won't do it. But there's a very very strong reason why not. Apparently, Locust Swarm has more issues in his tooltip. Oh no. Whoops. Why you guys gotta ask me interesting questions that call into question the way things are set up? This thing is nasty. All right. Are there any significant graphics updates to early game chapters or new UI customization elements for season 4? UI customization, no, but yes, we are updating UI. You see little things like the tooltips are getting a bit of a glow up. Little things like there's tutorial changes that are happening. There are some there's some adjustments to the order a few things happen in the early campaign just to smooth things out a little bit better. But I wouldn't say like really big graphic updates. Significant graphic updates, no. Minor graphic updates here and there, yeah. There's things that we're changing and improving all the time. We frequently will go through and look at like, hey, what's the like worst thing in the campaign? What's the worst zone? Like, what's the worst area in the campaign? What's been the longest without any love? Let's do a little bit of glow up here. That sort of thing happens quite a bit. What's harder to describe, Shadow Daggers or Swarm Strike? Correct answer already in chat. Yes. We'll figure out what's going on with Swarm Strike. I remember making Swarm Strike originally, or like working with when we were making it together, and like I remember it being kind of confusing because we wanted it to scale specifically with certain things to make it still like part of the reason it scales the way it does is so that it will be more compatible with the other forms. So that there is that incentive to be able to switch between forms, and we've tried to have like things that say like, okay, well, like changing between forms does cool stuff. We put that in all sorts of places in like every skill tree has these nodes here, like this one and this one. You can tell because like the split in the 2 forms. Looking from bear to swarm blade, it does something cool. When you go from bear to spring form, it does something cool. And like so everyone has that. Form, spring to swarm blade, and spring to bear. And you know, like we've been trying to incentivize that as a gameplay option, but it hasn't really landed. There's very, very rare that we'll see builds specialize in multiple forms. Not to say it can't be done. Random Canadian question pertaining to future minions. Will we see a beaver minion? Perhaps a group of blue jays? It would be interesting to see more animal variety for Beastmaster. I think we'll see there's way more animal variety than there is mechanical distinction variety given the scope of each skill tree. So I think we'd more likely be able to see like triggered abilities in like passives or on items that could cause like new minions to show up of different types that can't necessarily have support their entire tree for themselves. Yeah, like polar bears, you know, there's the Kermode cage, and you can get bears looking polary. Mine looks pretty polary. I love the way this bear looks. Yeah, a bear boy. When I brought my characters into the test realm to test, like I brought this character over into our staging area in order to test the corruption slamming. I just slammed all the gear to see what happened, and none of the MTX was set, and I like got really confused. I'm like, where's all my gear? What's going on? But it's just the non-MTX gear. So I thought I had a moment of what's going on here. One cute pigman. Yeah, there's lots more room to put like specific minions in here, like yeah, little froggy boy. This guy, I think things like that. It's a lot easier. Cool, it's cool. This was one of our first ones. Little guy. This one's cool. You don't see this one very often. I don't know why I'm showing this. There's just like almost no time left in stream, and I don't want to like go into another echo. But I am an idiot. Yep. I've been that does look cool by teaser hydra gameplay. Yeah, I realized. I have to do it once a stream. I'm sorry. This thing, if you wait long enough, it probably won't do it here because we're in a combat zone technically. But every once in a while, it may just be in its movement, it will like erupt and explode. There's like a volcano that happens. At least once a stream, at least once. We made it to the end though. No Uber attempt this stream. You are absolutely correct. We are extending stream. I apologize. Let's go. We have more health than before. We have 200 more health than last time. Oh boy, my face, that hurt. Oh, I flipping got hit. I don't know how I didn't get hit by those, but we'll take it. Oh, I had a chance to break it. Nope. Is that the farthest I've got? I got a Harbinger out. Have I got a Harbinger out before? All right. Thank you for coming out, everyone. I had a great time. I hope you did too. I'll be back same time, same place next week. The panic was real. Yeah. If I did not answer your question, I apologize. It's not intentional. Please head on over to our Discord and ask it there. I will do my best to answer them after the stream. Lots of great community members answering there too. Yeah. We've got about a month until patch. I am very ready. We'll get UBERROTH down. We'll do it. We got new boots this time. We got new belt coming. I promise. It's happening. We'll figure out Locust Swarm. Oh, let's go see if. Let's go say hi. Most of you are probably already there, anyways. Oh no, I didn't log into chat. I'll fix it right after this. I promise. Have a good day, everyone. We'll see you later. Bye.